Hey everybody, it's Anna. Welcome back to my art channel. Thank you for being here. Today I've got part 2 of a little mini series, a cell activator test. So if you saw my video a couple weeks ago, you can find it here. I did a test of 3 of the most common cell activators that do not use Australian Floetrol. Instead, they use American Floetrol glue, Minwax pre-stain, Amsterdam paint and water, things like that. So the results were actually quite conclusive on which was the best. Now for the bloom recipe, all the ones that I tried did work. But when I tried them on paint that was mixed with Floetrol, a more normal paint as it were, only one of them really worked as a cell activator. So that was pretty cool to see. Today I'm taking it one step further and I'm doing another 2-part test. This is a bloom recipe, this is going to be Floetrol mixed paint, but I'm using Australian Floetrol. So I have a real cell activator. This is 3 parts Australian Floetrol to 1 part Amsterdam Titanium White. This is like the official cell activator recipe. And then this was my winner from the inexpensive cell activator showdown, which was Amsterdam paint mixed just with water. So when I did that video, my paint and water mixture was about 2 parts of the Amsterdam paint to 1 part water. And it worked really well. It was a little bit thinner, so I added a bit of paint for today to try to make it a little bit more like the consistency of the Australian Floetrol one. So paint and water, Australian Floetrol. So then on this side, I'm going to be doing a kind of a standard bloom recipe where the pillow is going to be white house paint. All of my colors are mixed up with the untinted house paint and polycrylic mixture. And then on this side, I'm going to be using more of my standard mixture, which is paint and American Floetrol. Now it's mixed thicker than normal to try to imitate that bloom consistency. But we got bloom recipe, we got Floetrol mixed paint. This is going to be fun. Let's see how it goes. So we're going to start over here on the bloom side. So I have some white house paint, which is going to be the pillow. So let me just sort of scoop up some of that and put it on each of these canvases. Okay, so my colors, if you want to hear me describe all of the colors, you can go watch the video that I did at first. These are exactly the same colors as in my first test, so I'll just start putting them down. So I have 2 paints and 2 mica pigments for each side. So this is Phthalo blue. The next one is sky blue. Whoops, supposed to do both at once. Now sky blue. And this color blend was so beautiful when I did it in the other test. I just love it. So I'm happy to use it again. I'm doing this test by swiping with a palette knife instead of blowing from the center, because at least with my alternative cell activators, it's been easier for me to get lacing by swiping. So that is what I'm doing today. That was Hot Chocolate Mica Pigment, and this is Spring Rain. So I'm just kind of putting the colors all over the canvas so we get a nice mix wherever I swipe. If I was blowing from the center, I would make sort of a circular puddle in the middle, but that's not what I'm doing today. Okay, beautiful. Now comes the fun part. So I don't know whether I want to try the Australian Floetrol first and then the backup. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for the real deal, and then I will see how the alternative compares. I'm going to get my palette knife and just put a little bit of that cell activator on the back. Okay, here we go. Wow. Okay, that's a pretty big cell reaction. Immediate, big cells. So, no disappointment there. Let me get... I'm going to do another swipe with the big one and then a swipe with the little one to get these edges. It is really crazy because there's like big lacing and cells right at the beginning, and then they definitely get smaller as it goes along, which happens with any cell activator, but this one is particularly pronounced, it seems. Okay, little one. Okay, so now I have some more of the pillow paint, the house paint, in a squeeze bottle, which is easier for covering up the corners. All right, let's tilt this. Super cool. So definitely the lacing and the cell reaction is beautiful. It popped up very quickly. Over on the sides, it is very small cells. So that is fairly similar to some of the alternative ones that I've used. It's not all big cells, but there are some really beautiful ones. So, loving it. Let me cover the corners really quick, and then we'll move on to the next one. I just realized I got so excited to swipe, I forgot to torch. Before I swiped, I forgot to torch the pillow, so let me do that now. And I'll torch this other one also. All right, next one. So this is the Amsterdam Paint and Water. So this, up until this point, has been my favorite cell activator because it has worked the most consistently and it's the easiest to mix up. So let's see how it compares to Australian Floetrol. All right, here we go. Wow, look at that. I mean, those cells popped up so fast. Amazing. All right, let me do my second and third swipes. Again, just so much reaction. It's crazy. Well, that one I didn't swipe very well, so there's not much reaction there. But very cool. Got a lot of white here. I'm going to use my straw to try to open up some cells there. Okay, add the paint on the corners, and let's stretch it out. This is just so beautiful. These colors are amazing. And there's so many cells here too. It's stunning. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. That is just so beautiful. So in terms of the cells between these two, they both produced beautiful lacing, beautiful cells. I can't tell a whole lot of difference in terms of the shape and like how bold and how much they stand out. These are actually seeming pretty equivalent for a palette knife swipe. Now, it could be very different when you blow it by mouth. It could, you know, one could be significantly better than the other. But for what I did right here, for swiping, they both work. So that is really good news for those of us who, I mean, obviously I have a jug of it now, but for anybody that can't buy a jug of Australian Floetrol, I mean, look at these two. They are pretty equivalent. That's awesome. Another quick torch. Awesome. Love those. They're so pretty. Let's move on to this side, the Floetrol mixed paint side. So I have a black pillow for that, which is house paint with some Floetrol added to thin it down a little bit and make it a little bit more similar to the colors that I used. So let's add the pillow. Okay, I'm going to torch this pillow pretty heavily because the black paint can hold on to air bubbles pretty long. Okay, let's put down our colors. So we're going to start with this one, which is, I think this is light magenta. It's either light magenta or bright magenta. I think it's light magenta. It was a Christmas gift from my youngest daughter. And I just think it looks really cool with the black. Super funky and bright. All right, next up is titanium white. And I'm not going to put very much of this. In my other video, I had quite a lot of it. And a lot of white paint combined with not great cell activators just kind of made the whole thing go gray. So I want a little bit of white because I want... If you have a painting on a dark base and you don't have at least some white, it just looks kind of bland. So I want some white, but not a lot. All right, and then this is a mica pigment. This is Tumbleweed. And for the mica pigments that I put mixed with the Floetrol paint, the Floetrol mixture, I mixed the mica with gloss gel to create like a metallic paint, which I then mixed with Floetrol. And all of my mixing information, paint brands and all of that, that's all in the video description. So if you're curious, you can look there. And finally, this is Brilliant Green, which is another mica pigment. And this one, when I did it the first time, not a whole lot of it showed up in the finished piece, and I'm not quite sure why. Again, bad cell activators can cover up a lot of stuff, so I just want to make sure that there's plenty of green here. So let me torch these again. If you don't have a torch and you're wanting to do blooms, you really do need one. Because otherwise you'll get just so many air bubbles and it'll mess up your piece. For a lot of other painting styles, you do not need a torch. For this one, you do. All right, so we're going to start with the Australian Floetrol. Cover that palette knife. And it's just a thin layer. You don't want to glop it on, but you also want there to be enough that it will actually transfer. Okay, here we go. So pretty. Lots of cells opening up. It's not quite as many as was on the bloom mixture, but it's still a lot, which is good. That's what I was hoping for. Trying to get kind of creative with my swipes. Lots of reaction here, which is great to know that Australian Floetrol and paint will work on a more standard paint mixture. I'm gonna cover up these corners. This is so pretty. Oh my goodness. That is absolutely stunning. The color blend is perfect. Oh, it's exactly what I wanted. Amazing. I'm just gonna set it down up there. because the sides are pretty much covered as it is. So cool. All right, so we got lots of lacing and cell reaction from the Australian Floetrol on the regular sort of paint mixture. All right, let's do it one more time. I'm gonna torch again. So here we have Amsterdam paint and water, which I've already tested on this paint mixture. I know it makes cells and lacing. So let's just see in an exact side-to-side comparison, how does it compare with Australian Floetrol? Here's a bunch of cells. All right, small one. A lot more of the white paint is sitting on top with this one, and it could be because I did thicken up this cell activator a bit since my last test. Stuff may open up as I stretch it out. I'm going to torch it. Okay, that may have opened up a little bit more. Blowing with a straw, it almost like pokes holes in that top layer, and so it can really help open up some new cells. So if you have sections of white in your cell activator, blowing on those can help open up cells that weren't there already. Okay, one more time. Let's cover the corners and tilt this out. Okay, so there's that one. Let me clean off my hands and then I'll talk about them. So this was a very interesting experiment yet another time. Each one of these worked. Both the paint and water, Amsterdam paint and water worked. The Australian Floetrol worked on both mediums. They both worked really well. They both had different strengths and weaknesses. Let me give you a close-up so you can see some of these differences for yourself. All right, here we go. So let's start over here with the two bloom ones. So this is the Australian Floetrol cell activator, and this is the Amsterdam paint and water cell activator. So both of these produced some really nice shaped cells. But as you can see, the cells got very small over on this side. Same with this one. Nice and big at the beginning, getting smaller towards the tail end. Though actually the Amsterdam paint and water produced consistently larger cells, which surprised me. Actually, if I was just to look at the two of these, I kind of prefer this one. Though the Amsterdam paint and Australian Floetrol, these are really pretty shaped cells there, sort of in the middle where the swipe began. So, both of those were successes. I can't tell whether one works better than the other, and it's possible that swiping, they are the same, but blowing they're different. I don't know. But let's head over now to the Floetrol mixed paints. So this is the Australian Floetrol, and that is just amazing. You can see the colors so well, but there's that beautiful lacing over top, lots of cells popping up. Now definitely on a Floetrol mix, you get more of those round cells, but there are still some of those kind of lace cells. So usually if you're going to be doing a swipe, a cell activator swipe on paints that are mixed with American Floetrol, a more standard paint mixture, you'll get kind of a mix of cell shapes. Not all round, not all sort of lacy. And then here we have the paint and water, and with this one actually it made lots of cells, but the colors didn't show up as well. So I don't know if that's because for this mixture the cell activator was now too thick. So definitely we got plenty of cells. It's really beautiful. So still 100% qualifies as a cell activator, but in terms of these, I prefer the Australian Floetrol result to the paint and water result. All right, I will show you the dry result, but for right now, both of these seem to work very well on both types of paint mixtures. So that is excellent news for those of us that can use Australian Floetrol, or for those of us that can't. All right, I'll see you when they're dry. Okay, they're dry, and boy, they are just looking so cool. I just love seeing how metallics show up better when a painting is dry. Also, this one, you see those cells in there? They look black, and then the light hits it, and it's that green, so that is super cool. But yeah, they all dried really well. Okay, so just as a reminder, these top two, the cell activator was Australian Floetrol and Amsterdam paint. The bottom two, the cell activator, was just Amsterdam Titanium White mixed with water. And as you can see, they're about equivalent. Both here on the Bloom recipe pour, they get similar amounts of cells and similar shapes of cells. Actually, the paint and water got more, but that may have been in how I swiped it. And then over here, where American Floetrol was the pouring medium, they both got lots of cells again. I kind of prefer this one, but again, that could be the luck of just how the paints were layered up that time. So, very cool test. Did it surprise you? It surprised me a little bit that the Amsterdam paint and water seemed to perform equally well to the Australian Floetrol cell activator. Now, again, this was a palette knife swipe. If the cell activator is blown across, it's possible that there would be a difference between one, but isn't it encouraging to all of us who might not have easy access to Australian Floetrol that you really don't need it as much as you might think? Thank you guys so much for watching this painting video test. I hope it inspired you to try something new. I hope to see you back on my channel very soon for another video. Bye!